Ok, aujourd'hui, nous apprenons les questions. Les questions. Questions. So make sure you have open your question notes, so you can be filling those out as we go. So in French, there are 4 different types of ways to ask questions. In English, there are lots of different ways to ask questions too. Our most common way is to use do. Okay, so as we're going over these questions, what I want you to remember is that there is no translation for do for as far as a question in French. So, like in English, I would say, do you like pizza? Because adding the word do on the front is how we ask a question in English. There is no direct translation for that in French. We're going to practice the 4 different ways to do that. So, the easiest way, we have this way in English too, is inflection. All you do for this one is raise your voice and add a question mark. So I could say a sentence, tu as les arts, you have art. Or I'd go, tu as les arts, you have art. And all of a sudden you know that it's a question because I've raised my voice, I've inflected my voice. Okay, so that is way 1, inflection. Then we have inversion. We have this in English too. We just used it a little bit differently. So this is when you switch the subject and the verb and you put a hyphen in between. So an example would be, as-tu les arts? As-tu les arts? So instead of you have art, I have flip-flopped onto, and now it is have you art? Okay, so we do that in English too. It's a little bit different. So instead of saying you do have art, we would say, do you have art? And all of a sudden, that has gone from a sentence to a question because we have inverted you and do. Okay, there is a little exception here, or not an exception, but an addition. When the subject starts with a vowel, so il, elle, or en, when you flip it, and you would have verb or vowels next to each other. So if we flip-flopped a and il, all of a sudden we have 2 vowels next to each other. And we don't like 2 vowels. So normally what we would do is get rid of this vowel and put an apostrophe. But we can't because then the entire word is gone. So what we do with inversion is we put a T in the middle so we don't have 2 vowels next to each other. We'll practice this, I promise. So it'd be a-t-il, a-t-elle, a-t-on. Okay, don't freak out. We're going to practice. Okay, so est-ce que is a question phrase. So all of these words go together. Est-ce que. Est-ce que. You add this to the beginning of a phrase, and now it is a question. So, est-ce que tu as les arts? So that est-ce que is your signal that a question is being asked. Est-ce que tu as les arts is do you have art? And then n'est-ce pas? We have this way in English too. It's very similar to adding right on the end of a question, like you have art, right? So add n'est-ce pas to the end of a question. Tu as les arts, n'est-ce pas? You have art, right? You have art, don't you? So it's like rephrasing that question, adding just right or don't you at the end. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I just want you to look at this question. You don't have to write anything down yet. And just think, what is this form? Identify which of the 4 forms this is. Is this inflection, inversion, est-ce que, or n'est-ce pas? So est-ce que and n'est-ce pas are easy to rule out, right? Because we don't see an est-ce que at the front and we don't see a n'est-ce pas at the end. For inversion, you're always going to have a hyphen somewhere in there. So this is just inflection. Tu as un stylo. You have a pen? You have a pen? Now, same question. As-tu un stylo? We have inverted. We have flip-flopped that subject and the verb. So now we have as-tu un stylo. So it is inversion. We've inverted the subject and the verb. A-t-elle. Remember, we have those dashes. We have a T in between because we don't want this A and this E next to each other. A-t-elle un stylo is inversion. Does she have a pen? Tu as un stylo, n'est-ce pas? Tu as un stylo, n'est-ce pas? That's using n'est-ce pas. Est-ce que tu as un stylo? Est-ce que is at the beginning. Still. This is still, do you have a pen? This is, do you have a pen? This is, do you have a pen? All of those are translated in English as do you, because that is the way that we ask questions in English. Okay? Nous avons un crayon. Inflection. Nous avons un crayon. Do we have a pencil? Do we have a pencil? Est-ce qu'il a une porte? So pay attention right here. This would normally be est-ce que, but that E got replaced with an apostrophe. Why? Because we don't like those vowels next to each other. Est-ce qu'il. So now that has become one word. A une porte. Does he have a door? I know these questions are weird, but we're practicing. Il a une porte, n'est-ce pas? Same exact question. Does he have a door, but with n'est-ce pas as our form? He has a door, right? A-t-il un stylo? Anytime you see that dash T dash, it is inversion. Does he have a pen? A-t-il un stylo? Does he have a pen? Okay, turn those notes in. We're going to practice in a second.